Welcome back to the Four Podmen, the wrestling podcast we bring you each and every week on the Dynamo Podcast Network. Head over to YouTube, smash that subscribe and bell notification button. Audio versions of the show are also available on Anchor. And if you'd like to get in contact with the show, you'll find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And today, Craig has joined me for a very special episode of the Podmen, a new series we're going to launch called No Less Collector's Corner. And as we know that most people who are wrestling fans are also avid collectors of figures, DVDs, CDs, T-shirts, memorabilia, all that kind of good stuff. So we thought it'd be a good idea to put a show up looking at people's individual collections and through a kind of a timeline and nostalgia thing about good times in their childhood, picking up that special figure or that special game or that special T-shirt, and the excitement of going to shows and picking up a bit of merchandise at the shows. And obviously a lot of history related to the shop we have there in Stephen's Green as well. It's been there now nearly 20 years. So, for guys like Craig who grew up around that shop, really, if you think about it, most of these guys came into me, they were anywhere between 8 and 10-year-olds, and now they're all grown men with fiancés or wives or kids or whatever it is. But the joy of collecting never stops, Craig. Sure it doesn't.
It doesn't. Obviously, look behind over your shoulder. It's amazing. But you're never really out of the game because collecting. You might, like, I stopped, not because I didn't like wrestling anymore, but I just kind of fell out of love with getting the figures. Maybe it was space, maybe it was storage, maybe it was a number of things. It wasn't anything financially related that, I can't afford to get them. I always paid me bills, rent and all, and then my kind of fun or my exit, like with my money that I had spare, was to collect. I did dive into, we have some over your shoulder, like Funko would be my more recent kind of like avenue for collecting. That's kind of taken a halt as well. I've kind of gotten very selective. But for me, as the age you mentioned when we were coming over, when I discovered the shop, wrestling figures were just, the be all and end all, or wrestling merchandise to be exact. Anything merchandise related, I didn't even care. Was it a poster? Was it a figure? I didn't care. I just wanted it and had to have it. As most wrestling probably fans,
Yeah, it's kind of it's a mad one, really. And just to preface that, if anyone out there is thinking of starting to collect Funko Pops, I will tell you now, do not start, because Funko Pops are worse than drugs. Without a shadow of a doubt, they will have you penniless.
I probably would have saved money taking drugs, to be honest.
Yeah, absolutely. But I suppose as collectors, I mean, there's certain pieces that we collect that drive us back to memories of our time in wrestling that we loved. Everyone has that cool DX figure, everyone has that cool Ultimate Warrior figure. My partner on the show, Jay Kennedy, my hot tag partner, who's an absolute unbelievable Ultimate Warrior fan, has nearly every Ultimate Warrior figure that you can get. He's just obsessed with the Warrior. Likewise, Ian, who does be on the show as well, he was a massive Bret fan, but also a big collector of memorabilia and figures, buys a lot of different stuff, but loves Bret Hart. Bret Hart would kind of be central to his collection, if you like. He'd have a lot of Bret Hart figures, and it's kind of cool, and you do get that with collectors as well. I found through years being in the shop and stuff like that, you get a lot of guys come in and they just take a whole wave off the wall. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter who's even in it. They just collect the waves. Some collect the basic series, some collect elite series, classic series, legends, whatever it is. Or some collect kind of a mixture of the two.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is safe to say, like, if you're a figure collector or a wrestling memorabilia collector, you better have plenty of space, because it builds up so quick. And the stuff is just legendary stuff. It's just cool stuff to collect,
I'll be completely honest now. Obviously, I have some stuff here to show you, but the classic series themselves, I was very negative towards that when I was younger, because I didn't appreciate the classics for what they were.
Yeah.
So when I was a kid and I was in my cousin's house, he had the little Hasbro figures.
Yeah.
And they were classic to me. So I couldn't, entice the regular size figure. What are they, 6 inch? No, are they 6 inches?
The regular ones, yeah. The basics would be, yeah.
The basic size. So it was weird for me seeing the likes of Warrior, the likes of Axe Smash, the Warriors, all in regular size, because I was so used to seeing them in Hasbro.
Yeah.
And I couldn't take to it as a, you know, coming into me teens and all. I was like, nah, that's just, you know, I can't take that.
Yeah.
Whereas the current roster appealed to me in a regular format because it was modern at that time.
Yeah.
You know, but when I finally got around to, I'm very nostalgic with probably as a lot of collectors are. When I finally got my head around the classic line and the job Jack specifics do themselves is unbelievable. I know Mattel are doing an unbelievable job, I think, with Elite Series and stuff like that at the moment. But you have to remember, this is going back a while. You know.
Yeah. Absolutely. I always remember with the Jacks. I mean, the one thing that people used to always say is like when you bought the Jacks figures, your Rey Mysterio and your Undertaker, they were the same size, and it was always an issue, kind of a small issue for people, and that is one thing that Mattel did address. When they took over the figure deal, they did look into sort of heights and weights and stuff like that.
Yeah, I got Hornswoggle from yourself, and he's like, and then I got the Great Khali from yourself, and he's really heavy, like he's like, you know, proper.
Yeah, absolutely. So it was good. It was good to see that kind of development. But I suppose when you're a kid and you're playing with them and stuff like that, then you didn't really care. You know what I mean? It was just fun, you know. But yeah, I'd be a big collector now of the Hasbros and the retro stuff because it's just a nostalgia buzz for me. And even the ones that I can't get are ones that were never done. I do buy custom ones of those. You know, I'd have custom ones over there like Nick Aldis from NWA. I'd have a Hasbro over there of him. I'd have the Warrior from '92 and, you know, different ones like that were never made. I have a Vader one there as well, a couple of cool ones, and I have a couple of manager ones on the way as well, you know, a Bobby Heenan and a Jimmy Hart that were never made in the Hasbro. But just I don't know what it is, I love the backing cards off the Hasbros, and
See the Hasbro over your shoulder.
Yeah,
like, the card sells it.
Yeah, I love the old WWF logo. Like, it's really cool, you know. And I have a
ring?
I remember the ring. Yeah, I remember the ring. Yeah.
Oh my god, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, really cool. And they released it for they released a retro one as well for the new retro series that they were doing as well. I haven't seen much more of that retro series coming out now. I don't know whether they've canned it or not, but it was really cool because it was basically the modern day equivalent of the Hasbros, if you like. Really cool.
They're so cool.
Yeah, but I remember what you're saying there about the classic series now, because I remember back in the day when we used to stock the classic series in the shop. They were always the hardest ones to sell. I mean, there was obviously one or two that would always sell over. Like the Warrior figures are just so appealing. The Hogan figures are obviously just so appealing. But I remember like we'd have things in like Harley Race or, you know, Dynamite Kid or British Bulldog or Don Morocco or Cowboy Bob Orton or those type of figures. And they'd be so slow to sell, like, you know, and now you can't get them for love or money, you know.
Do you think, Niall, that could be down to their apparel wasn't as appealing to people in figure format, where they're just in the basic pants, or where they were just in?
I think it was just because there was so much merchandise coming out. I think a lot of people kind of you know, had to kind of decide, well, will I get this or be selective. I mean, obviously when they did the classic series double packs and the triple packs, when they did like the Heart Foundation, and DX, and, you know, they did those 4-packs. I have a 4-pack here somewhere of the 4 Horsemen, you know, the Hall of Fame one and stuff like that. Really cool stuff. But yeah, it was just kind of like, I think nostalgia has come back in a big way over the last couple of years, and especially I think with the pandemic and the lockdown as well. People have had time to go back and look at the stuff that they loved, and they've kind of nearly relived their childhood again because they've had a lot of time on their hands. So obviously with the kind of Netflix and YouTube and all that kind of stuff. And I think there's a big drive there at the moment now for all classic stuff and the nostalgia stuff, you know, and it sort of teleports you back to a good time in your life where you really enjoyed wrestling and you were kind of like, I was still an adult then, and like, but still, I was this big kid wrestling fan, you know what I mean? As you can see behind me, like I don't know how many times Hillary gets on to me saying, are you ever going to grow up kind of thing, you know what I mean? Attic full of stuff, rooms full of stuff, all this kind of thing, you know? Even there, only a few weeks ago there, I bought those 3 buddies there over my shoulder, Warrior Hogan and Macho. I only got them about 2-3 months ago, like, you know what I mean?
But you know what it is?
I just love the old stuff.
Do you know what it is? I think it's, you be serious when you need to be, and then whatever you do in your own time is what you want. What enjoy, you know, what you get out of enjoyment and stuff like. Like it's what matters to us. It's what we treasure. I let some figures go, not because I didn't want them anymore. It was a lot to do with, like, you know, what kind of ship on and move on. No real attachment. I had Mr. Fuji, had the cane with him and all. I had the Warriors with the shoulder pads. But I will get them back again. It's not like, they're gone for good. Like, it's,
Yeah.
when I can kind of maybe get more storage and stuff,
Yeah.
I have some stuff here still that I hold very dearly. And a lot of stuff has been through the shop, which I truly do appreciate. If anyone hasn't been to Stephen's Green, please God, when the pandemic is over, you have to go up there, because Niall, when I mean someone look after you, Niall goes out of his way for people, and the shop do, no matter what you're looking for.
Appreciate that. Yeah, it is. It's just, it's kind of like, as I say to people, even through the shop as well, I get a great feeling at Christmas time when I'm sitting here. My own kids are obviously opening their presents, but I do think of like the hundreds of kids or even more around the country on Christmas morning that are opening up their gifts and their presents that people have got in the shop. And it just gives me it's a great feeling, you know what I mean, to know that we've such a big part to play in that. We will be changing a few things around. We are opening up on the 17th of May. So we will be changing a few things around in terms of we'll have a bit of a better product offering in terms of it won't be all just kind of newer stuff. We will be getting in older stuff and, more pieces of memorabilia and stuff like that as well. So when you do come and visit the shop, even if your intention is not to make a purchase, you can still come in and take a trip down memory lane and become that big kid again that all us wrestling fans love doing,
I remember when I found out about the shop, and I couldn't believe it. I was like, no, there's not a wrestling shop in the Green in Dublin. My uncle was like, there is. I've been over that way. And I remember going in, and you had the belts on display and the figures. And I didn't know where to start. Like, I was processing, like, what I mean?
Yeah. And the parents are going, oh my God, we should have never discovered this place, because you just get plagued.
I used to have my name in your notebook, Noel, call me when that comes in. You spend more time over there than you do at home, like,
I remember it well. I remember all those, all those purchases that people used to make. I remember when the Cool John Cena figures came out, and the spinny chains and the T-shirts and the kits and the wristbands and all that kind of stuff. Most of that stuff I remember. I mean, it's a 20-year period, so it's hard to remember it all. As you said earlier, I remember when that Cali figure first came out and everyone was going crazy for it, and nowhere had it. Yeah, we had to bring them in from the States and stuff like that because nowhere had them. Same with Hornswoggle. I remember the Hornswoggle one was a major figure one Christmas, and I think we had orders for about 150 of them. And I remember it was really, really iffy whether we were going to get them or not, but these were on kids' Christmas lists and stuff like that and all. I remember Christmas week, a pallet of them arrived in to clear the 150 orders, and the relief. And I even remember one time, there was one time we took an order for a girl for a Christmas present for her boyfriend for a smoking skull belt, a Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Stone Cold, yeah.
And I remember an order came in. It was a big pallet of figures, but in this big pallet of figures, the belt was also in one of the boxes. But the belt had been put into a figure box. I think it was a case of Shelton Benjamins and Charlie Hosses or something. I think that's what it was anyway.
Holy shit.
And like I said on the list that the belt was there, but we used to store the stock up in the roof as well, especially at Christmas time, because we'd be getting in pallet loads of stuff, And if you're familiar with the shop, it's not a huge shop, but there's room around it to store stuff. And I remember the belt was put up in the roof, and we couldn't find this belt anywhere, but it was on the shipping list. We just thought they were all boxes of figures. And the girl came in looking for the belt, and I said to her, look, I'm really sorry. And this was Christmas week. I can't find the belt anywhere. It's saying it's on the shipping list, but I can't find it. And I remember she was so devastated and, so disappointed. And like, we always try our best to never let people down at Christmas. It's a nightmare, especially if it's Santa lists and it's kids. With adults, it's kind of like you can work around it. But I remember she was leaving and she was gone about an hour. And I had to get up into the roof to get some figures down to restock. I remember I picked up this box, and I think it was Shelton Benjamins and Charlie Hosses in it, And I said to myself, because I had taken down a few figure boxes, but this one I lifted up was much heavier because, like, if you imagine a belt is about 8 to 10 pounds. I remember picking up the box and I go, this isn't figures. And I opened up the box, sliced the box open. There was the smoking skull belt. So I got onto her straight away. She's only gotten down the bottom of Grafton Street or something.
Oh my God.
Back up. And I said, I found it. It was up on the roof in a figures box. And she was so delighted, you know what I mean? And I was kind of thinking at the time, I hope she hasn't gone off and bought him something else in a panic. And then we found this belt, But yeah, there's a story, but it just goes to show you when it comes to memorabilia and presents and stuff like that, you know.
Got you a nice Yankee candle set. What the fuck?
Yeah, I got your pair of runners out of JD or whatever it is. Your man's thinking he's getting a Stone Cold Steve Austin smoking school belt, you know.
Would have got a Stone Cold Stunner.
Yeah, probably would have got a stunner Christmas morning. Yeah, but go on, take us through some of the memorabilia, because obviously this is your episode, so it's
Jesus.
It's about tell us some stories behind some of the stuff you have there.
It's obviously not going to have, you know, like a part on some people's collections, but it's what I have, and it means the world to me what I still have, and I still have it for the reason that I won't part with it, and I don't have to, you know. And it's something so basic as this is going back to Burger King.
Oh, the zipper cups. Yeah,
look at that.
Absolutely.
But it's just, you know, nostalgic, like, you know,
that's
when a Burger King.
Yeah, quality.
I still have it.
Yeah, no, they're brilliant. Yeah. Oh, yeah, they do loads of them when you're in the States. When you're in the States, the likes of 7-Eleven and stuff like that, they do like those zipper cups, but they do them for a lot of the pay-per-views, and they still do them, and they're still a huge hit. Like people
each
love
kind
them.
of character.
Yeah, just cool.
So if I'm going through basics, like as I call aside the classics, WWE obviously had the rights to sell ECW figures, you know yourself, and they brought out, when CM Punk had just entered ECW, he had his own ECW figure, which I thought it was really cool that he was part of WWE after wrestling in Japan and stuff.
Yeah.
And there's not a lot to it. Like, if you can see, he's very, very basic. He just has a tray with him. But I love CM Punk. And if you actually look at the back, it's all the original ECW cast. Like, you have Tommy Dreamer, the Sandman.
Yeah.
But he's actually in that. Kevin Thorne is in there.
Kevin Thorne, the Sandman one is cool, yeah, and Rob Van Dam and all.
Rob Van Dam, Tommy Dreamer.
I often found with that set as well, I always found it was weird to see like an ECW box with a WWE logo on it. Yeah, look at that. It's just so strange to see it, like, you know. Yeah.
There's ECW on the top.
I remember there about a year ago, we had in some of the original ECW figures. We had gotten a collection in from a guy, and they were really cool. Like Little Guido and all was in it, and Sandman and Sabu and all. Really, really cool stuff, you know.
Like, look, he has no tattoos on his arms there, really. Like, that's a basic CM Punk. But to me, it was just a more of, you know, he's in ECW while he's in WWE, you know. It's that kind of like, wow, like, that's pretty cool. Like, you know, I wanted to have that.
Yeah, no, it's cool.
If I look, you obviously, I think you got this from me. They did pay-per-view basics, whereas if a superstar had a certain attire or was wrestling at a certain event, they would bring them out in the format of a pay-per-view. And rest in peace, sadly. I got Umaga.
Oh, Umaga, yeah, the Cyber Sunday one, yeah. Very good.
I believe he was fighting John Cena at Cyber Sunday.
Yeah, I think it was, yeah.
Yeah, if you have a look at the back there, people can see.
Yeah, the Bischoff one with the referee kit on him was always a cool figure, yeah. Very cool.
When Umaga kind of had that impact that he did, you know, destroying lads, like, the first thing I wanted to do was like, Niall, when is he coming out in a figure? I was like,
they've only actually released a new Elite series, and Elite one of Umaga looks really cool. He has all the dress gear in it and all. Yeah, it looks really cool.
See on his, if you can see his pants, he doesn't have his face, but his Elite one does, I think, on his pants on his side.
Yeah.
But I actually had his double pack somewhere. It's an Adrenaline double pack with Estrada, and he has a cigar and the hat and all.
Yeah, really, really cool. Armando Estrada, and he called him Umanga. Yeah, he just called him Umanga, not Umaga. Yeah, really cool. Yeah. Rest in peace, Umaga. Definitely.
Rest in peace.
Yeah.
Let me see what else I have there. Sorry about this. I'll see what else.
No, take your time, pull out whatever you want. It's all good.
These two, everyone has their own opinion on tag teams, but I love these. From the music, I wish I had it carried on. I'd say, Noel, you would obviously know a lot more about me about what happened with them. But from a viewing aspect and the music and the whole package, Deuce and Domino, I absolutely, for me, I thought they were, fresh. Yeah. The music, catchy, and they had the what's her name? They had the girl with them.
Cherry used to come out on the roller skates.
On the roller skates, you know, it all the grease, the real grease kind of feel, and it was so cool.
Yeah,
and I talked to her like a fire, like, you know. They actually have the tag belts when they finally got them. Yeah, with them.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, Domino went on to have a decent career on the independent scene. Juice ended up Juice's Snooker's son. And he
Oh my
ended up,
God.
he ended up getting fired. He was actually, remember, he was at WrestleMania 25, he was the cameraman that caught Taker when Taker did the dive out of the ring. I remember Taker nearly killed himself. And Shawn Michaels
Jesus.
pushed the cameraman into Taker because I think if you look at it, the dive was too steep off Taker.
Yeah,
So he didn't get the length on the dive.
Yeah.
And Michaels had to push the cameraman into him to catch Taker, or Taker would have broke his neck, I'd say. And that was Juice, was that cameraman. Yes,
So the only problem, if I had a problem with this figure line, was they came out in the leather coats with the shades, you know.
Yeah.
Bit more detail, but
yeah, it was like John Travolta in Greece. It's like John Travolta in Greece. Yeah, and you Kate and Murdoch and the Hardys. Yeah, the Hardys were cool. Yeah.
But that's another tag team that for me, like, I thought it was great. I really enjoyed them a lot.
Absolutely. I only went out there about 3 months ago and I bought the Hardy again. I had lost them. Remember the glow in the dark one? I think it was a TNA one.
Is
Remember
it with the green?
Yeah, the green paint on the box and all was glowing dark. I went out and I bought one of those about 4 or 5 months ago. Yeah, because I hadn't got it. I couldn't find it anywhere, so I went. I got one. Yeah, really cool.
This Adrenaline 2-pack I thought was just nice to have because of the nostalgic of it. It's a father and son tag team. It's Ted and
brilliant. Yeah, very good. Yeah,
so
excellent.
Ted DiBiase and the $1 Million Man. You know, it's just
very cool.
It's a regular Adrenaline 2-pack, but I just thought it was nice to have.
Yeah, I have Ted there as a Hasbro. All right, he was in there as well. It was that Taker and Jeff. That Taker and Jeff must have been from that match that time. Remember where he earned Taker's respect? Is it? Must have been. Remember the one? I think, is it? Must be.
He kind of went toe to toe with Taker, and then Taker he was beating the shit out of him, but he kept coming back.
And then Taker put him over in the ring. Remember what's the other one there beside it? There's the other two boys. Orton and Triple H. Oh, okay.
From Evolution, probably.
Probably, yeah. I'd say so. Yeah. I love those double packs.
Let's see what we have here. This is one that you actually had to custom order for me. I don't know if they've done any since. They probably have. But this is called WWE Limited. And you know, you were saying Jay has Ultimate Warrior and Ian has obviously Bret Hart. For me and my generation, Kane was the balls. Kane was like, my go-to.
Yeah.
And I actually have his WWE Limited.
Yes, figure. Very good. Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, the one with the mask and all. Yeah, and the mask and the urn.
Yeah.
Yeah, mask and urn. Yeah, very good. Yeah, great figure. Yeah.
It's just, it's not like a regular line.
They did them as specials where they brought them out. I think they did him, and I think they did a Rey Mysterio one, didn't they, as well, in the 22 headdress. Remember where he had all the feathers
with the big feathers and all.
Yeah, I think that was like that as well, a limited edition one as well. Really cool.
The funny thing about the box art is if you have a look at the back, it's just a standard rootless aggression.
Yeah.
But it's,
that was the only thing I was disappointed in them. I think the box art at the back, rather than using as advertising,
they
could have had a Kane thing. Yeah, like what they do with the new kind of legends and stuff like that. Really cool.
Let's see what else we have here. This was the first book when I was a child.
Mankind, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
There's some mad story. It actually has like a graphic of all his things he broke.
His books still sell really well. Foley's books still sell really well.
Now this book, there's a funny story behind this one. So I was a kid. I heard Rey Mysterio was coming over, and I met him in the place where I actually work now.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. He did the signing. Yeah, I remember that.
He was so down to earth. He was so approachable. Really. I'll take a picture. How are you? Very nice. Very patient with everybody as well.
Yeah.
That's a great book. That's like all the road stories and stuff.
Yeah. Still very popular to this day.
Remember, there's a story when they're in the coach traveling and I think it's Farouk goes to take the piss out on the side of the road. And JBL goes, drive down the road a bit. It's like it's pissing or it's really bad weather. It's like, drive down and we let off that we forgot about him. And they drive off and they stop down the road. Farouk's running down trying to get everything up. He's like, God damn it, JBL. Like, going ballistic at him. I thought he fucked off and left them on the side of the highway.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Let's see what else.
Big hero for the kids, Rey Mysterio. I mean, he was just another one, like with the masks and the memorabilia and the merchandise. He was brilliant. Like,
if I switch quickly, don't want to go off topic. Video games. For me, I remember I had a PlayStation 1 at the time and I was in school, came back, one of my friends was saying SmackDown 1 is coming out on the Friday, whatever. £34 at 34.99, whatever. And my copy was at home because I was in school. My dad had picked it up for me. I still have it. This was like the first PlayStation game, bar the Attitude game that they did. It was the first SmackDown kind of game.
Yeah, very good.
THQ. And I remember going over to my friends, and I was like, "Oh my god!" Like just blown away by everything. You can pick different wrestlers and actually relive your moments.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we actually got a bunch of those games in there about 12 months ago. We got a bunch of them in. We got all the SmackDowns in, and I think TNA was a TNA Impact, was it?
TNA had a game.
Yeah. Yes, Impact, and there was a few others there, but a lot of the classic, the Attitude one was there, and the ECW ones were there. Yeah, Shut Your Mouth, Here Comes the Pain, all those ones. Yeah, really cool.
The funny story with this one, right? This is Here Comes the Pain.
It's the pain,
yeah. When Lesnar was put into it, right? Yeah. And I wouldn't be a Lesnar fan, but I remember, just for shits and giggles, you have a 3-on-1. I'd pick Lesnar, put all his finishing moves on. Ultimo Dragon, Rey Mysterio, Hurricane Helms, and beat the absolute piss out of three of them. just as a kid, just for shits and absolutely F5 in the life out of them. German suplexing them all over it.
And the games were so cool as well because of the entrances and the music and stuff like that.
The roster.
Yeah, it was just brilliant.
Who was going to be in it, and the storylines and everything. What else have we got here?
I often say to people with games, when you have to use nearly all your fingers and thumbs and everything and all, there's no real fun to the game anymore. You know what I mean? So I love the older stuff.
So if I kind of switch, when I got a bit older, a bit more mature, and the appeal to classics grew on me as I got older, and I had a bit more respect and a bit more nostalgicness kind of coming together at the same time from what had previously got me into wrestling. And I finally bit the bullet with the classics, and I kind of wish I started sooner, to be honest. I miss some absolute, yourself, some classic figures, down to every detail were absolutely outstanding. I remember you were due an order in, and this was just Papa Shango, but the fact that he was coming out in a classic with all the necklace and all, and we waited the whole day, and it did come in the end, and we got them. And absolutely. I have some classics here. This is the Superstars Undertaker. So this is, he doesn't actually move.
That's the LGM one. That's the LGM version. Yeah, they did a Matt Hardy in it as well, and they did a Rock and a couple of others. Yeah, it's like a solid statue nearly.
It's a solid,
and weighs a ton as well, don't they?
Yeah, it's heavy.
Yeah, they're really heavy. Yeah.
There's just for people if they want to see the Mountie.
Yeah.
That.
Yeah, Brother Love and all, Luna for Sean. Yeah, some real good. Rick Rude, what a figure Rick Rude was. Yeah,
with the Intercon. Yeah. But that figure I just thought was really cool because it was like, wasn't just another Undertaker figure, it was kind of a statue.
Yeah.
I have Vince in his old commentary.
Oh, brilliant. Yeah.
So that's pure nostalgic to me, just with the old WWF logo and stuff.
Anytime I go to Fan Access, they always have his old jackets hanging up around the Fan Access area. So you can see, look at the Warrior one and all there. Shawn Michaels. I think that Shawn Michaels, if I'm right, is an LGN as well. The red and white one. That's an LGN as well. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. They started doing one in each series. I know there was a Matt Hardy one that was god awful. It was terrible. It was real blocky and square. Looked like Stretch Armstrong or something.
Wait to see how bad this thing is in a minute. Wait to see this. So I got this because you could argue that WrestleMania is his time to shine, and I thought it was so cool that they actually gave him a classic in his actual gear that he performs in.
Yeah.
Shane McMahon. I can't have Vince without Shane.
Yeah.
Now, when I say this is probably Stretch Armstrong here, I'm thinking of, look at this Triple H, lads. Oh my God.
Yeah. Some of them it suited and some of them was terrible. I know that one was terrible, and I know the Matt Hardy one was terrible. But yeah, that Shane O'Mac is really cool. I always loved those Shane O'Mac, those baseball jerseys as well. They were really cool.
And the last one that I could dig out, this needs no introduction. This is absolutely ridiculous. You probably have it yourself, and Jay obviously.
Yeah, Warrior with the ticket on the belt. Yeah, I think they did. If I'm right, if it's the same series, they did two of them, didn't they? They did the one facing forward, and they did the one facing back where you could see his jacket.
Yeah,
Jay, as far as I know, has both of them, and one of them I think he has signed when he met Warrior over in Manchester.
He has his back to the box.
Yeah, they're really, really cool. I always thought those Nasty Boys ones were really cool as well.
Like I had Mr. Fuji, I had Axe and Smash, I had Kamala, who had a great figure. I had the Warriors, the Legion of Doom. There was a Hollywood Hulk Hogan that actually came out in a classic. You probably know it yourself.
Yeah.
There's
The
so
one that
many.
had the white and black feather boas and
Had the
all
bow-
on, didn't it? Yeah,
yeah.
everything. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
But I think the thing that kind of gives me a bit of relief is the ones that I've kind of let go, I can get back, which gives me that kind of like, it's not the be all and end all. Mr.
Yeah.
Fuji and Paul Bearer had the urn. Kane actually has I think I have it upstairs. Kane has a classic figure, the Big Red Machine Kane.
Yeah.
He has a fire extinguisher, I think, with him. The
Yeah.
last thing I have here, don't mind the box, it's a bit battered trying to dig it out, but I have my ring joint Kane.
Oh, very good, yeah. I recognise that all right.
Actually did Carlito and all in the ring joint.
Yeah, I had Carlito,
Rey Mysterio.
Rey Mysterio, John Cena. We had a good few with them in actually. They were they sort of came out at a time in the shop where they were something different. But again, at the time when they first came out, they weren't overly popular.
Yeah.
People sort of looked at them because a lot of our customers at the time wouldn't have been actual collectors. They would have been people who actually bring figures home, play with them, a lot of kids and stuff like that. So when they seen these ones, the likes of those ring giants are more to be either kept in the box or put up on a shelf, as opposed to you wouldn't really play with them because like there wouldn't be a ring or anything like that. I know they brought out big stuff like the Elimination Chamber and stuff like that in time, but like you would never be playing with the ring giants. And kids, of course, coming into the shop, they always want they barely got out of the shop and they were ripping the boxes to bits anyway, you know what I mean?
So and we're standing there like collectors, like, oh Jesus.
Yeah. Now these kids are all 30-year-old and 30 and 40-year-old men or whatever it is, or 30-year-old men, and they're wondering why they ever opened the box.
Have you ever got any unusual requests, Noel, for memorabilia that we'd have to as in hunt down that you like was really like discreet memorabilia that was really tough to track and really like obscure or anything like that?
Yeah, well, I remember like we would have got a lot of requests in for stuff like old classic belts and stuff like that would be hard to get because back in the belt day, like they wouldn't have offered you everything like they do now, so it was kind of some of those things would have been quite difficult to get. And also obviously, not knowing how many we would need in the likes of those Calais and Hornswoggles and the DX double packs and anything that was kind of like, the figures that kind of lend themselves to collectors, the Papa Shangos, the Rick Rudes, the Ultimate Warriors, the Hogans, DX, all those kind of cool ones, the Rey Mysterios, every version of the Rey Mysterio, you know what I mean? And some of the original John Cena's. I collect as well some of the limited edition, the ones that used to come in the little small boxes. So I have Regal there, and there was a British release of William Regal.
Unmatched Fury.
No, these are in smaller boxes. These are like about this size. They're still
a box.
Yeah, they did a John Cena. Remember the John Cena one came with the spinny belt and the chain gang solder.
Full square kind of.
Yeah, just a little square limited box. There was I have a Taz one there. I have a William Regal one there. I think they're like one of 1500s or 3000s or something. But they were cool as well. And there was a John Cena one as well. But he had the chain gang soldier basketball T-shirt on him or vest on him and stuff. Just really cool. But it's we get in a lot. Like Undertaker would be a big one for memorabilia. We obviously get in, the WrestleMania plaques, and we got in those Boneyard plaques and stuff like that as well. But his stuff would be always sought after, and especially now that he's retired, the urns and all that kind of stuff. But the cost of the stuff has gone through the roof. Like if you look at the cost of the Hasbros now, I think the Dusty Rhodes Hasbro now is about $3,500.
Not the yellow spotted one.
Yeah, but it's about $3,500 now if you wanted it boxed, and graded. It's big money now for the Hasbros. And it's only in the last, say, 2 or 3 years that the Hasbro, the cost of them has shot through the roof now, massively. Prior to that, like people were unloading Hasbros to beat the band dirt cheap. But now, like especially if they're boxed and graded and stuff like that as well, they're big books now. Yeah, big books now. A lot of collectors now are resorting to getting customs done because they just can't afford to be throwing the money at the originals at this stage. I mean, it's just too expensive.
The good thing about the Hasbro for kids, though, they could take a bump, like they could take a hit, as in they could be played with.
Yeah, they're pretty solid, all right. Yeah.
If I was to think about off the top of my head about a classic, I don't know if he's in a classic line, but I remember they did a Rey Mysterio. You obviously touched on Rey Mysterio figure, Halloween Havoc v Eddie Guerrero in his purple and black. That figure, Jesus, that like if the top of my head, which figure would you like to buy? That comes straight to my mind.
They also did the double pack with both of them with the mask half ripped off. Remember
When he was
when
he had
Eddie
him in
tried
the,
when he
yeah.
tried to rip the mask off. That was a real cool double pack as well. Yeah. Was there ever a figure that either didn't release or a figure that released that you didn't get that you would have loved to get? I know it's a hard one to call because there's millions of them, really. You know.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Well, like for me, what would mean and what I didn't, what I could have got. Oh, it's a pretty tough one. Yeah, I'm trying to think back through my time and through the roster and stuff. Did they do the Brothers of Destruction in a classic and a double?
They did, yeah. They did a double pack, yeah. Undertaker and Kane, yeah. That would have been
something
cool.
like that because like you know where I maybe coulda, shoulda, woulda, or still could, you know.
Yeah.
Because of me sentiment to Kane. Besides that, I think looking even over your shoulder, the appeal to the card at Hasbro, it's just, you know, cleared.
It's a madness, like, you know, like I even have that one over my shoulder, that side there, that I'll go that way. That one. That's a Heart Foundation one there, but it only has Brett in it because I'm waiting on a Jim the Anvil to come, a custom one, because they only did Jim the Anvil in the Hasbro's in the blue gear. I think at the time he was either singles or he was with Owen Hart, but I got a custom one done where he's in the pink and black to go with that Heart Foundation card that I got done, you know. So it's just something different, you know, because it's nice to know that you have something there that potentially no one else has as well, you know what I mean? Because it was never made.
A Ring Rage Boogeyman figure, and it's the Boogeyman, but I love it because the detail is just ridiculous.
Yeah.
You know, he has his proper face paint. He got the clock with him and all.
Yeah.
Something like so simple. I had a.
Didn't they do a Boogeyman figure as well with the clock, and the clock was damaged? Didn't they do the one where the clock was damaged when he smashes it on its head? So it was in the box and the clock was all buckety with the glass was broken off.
And I have cool. You actually sourced me a WrestleMania 22 boxed Finley figure. I still have that somewhere.
Yeah.
But excellent. It's so cool to have in a WrestleMania 22 packaging, and it's Finley, you know, someone who we can relate to.
Really,
you know,
really
things
cool,
like that.
Yeah, they did some good ones. That WrestleMania 22 as well. That's the one where they did the Rey Mysterio in the headdress. And they also did, what was the other one? Ric Flair. They did a Ric Flair one. They did a WrestleMania 22 series. I used to love the pay-per-view series. They were really cool. Because remember, they did the SummerSlam one as well. And he had Rey Mysterio as the Silver Surfer. Remember, and he was in all the silver. Remember when he did the Silver Surfer gimmick when he came back?
That's so appealing. You know, that's so appealing.
Really cool. And even the other ones where they did, I think, I'm not sure, did they do singles?
Did a Joker. Did he do him in his Joker attire? Remember he wore a WrestleMania, I think it was. He had a Joker.
I'm not sure. I think they did.
But that would appeal to me.
Yeah, that was pretty cool as well. And I remember at SummerSlam as well, I think they either did a double pack or a single pack. It was Hogan in the red, and it was Shawn Michaels when they were wrestling each other. I remember they did all Larry King skits and all that kind of stuff. That was really cool, yeah. So,
well, what is the purpose of the Chase the Belt? What was the purpose behind that? As in the figures?
The idea was they did a one. Sometimes they did either a one of. They did anything from a one of 250 all the way down to, I think, a 1 in 10 or a 1 in 20 or something. But the belt that was in it was actually a replica belt. It was leather and metal. We got 2 Mark Henry ones in one time, but they also did other ones as well where they did a chase for the pay-per-view. So like TLC and stuff like that. And you got the chair. Remember the ringside chairs?
Yeah, with the graphic of the pay-per-view.
Yeah, you got the ringside chairs because we got in a John Cena one. And we got in a Wade Barrett one as well. But they were really cool. I remember we got the Mark Henry ones in. And like they were so much heavier, like, because the belt was in there. And the belt came with, you know, like the replica belt bag and all. The replica belt bag and all was in it. So it's really cool. Yeah. So you could put the bag into the belt bag and all. Like it was like a proper little, like, you know, the mini replica belt you get now, but just much smaller, like a figure size one. But it was like a proper leather and metal belt, like, you know, and the design on it and all the detail was great, like, you know. So yeah, they were really cool. Now I didn't see many of them. I think we seen 4 of the belt ones in our time in the shop, and I think we seen about 3 or 4 of the pay-per-view ones where you got the chairs and stuff like that, which was really, really cool. We got a Wade Barrett one and a John Cena one, I think, and we got a couple of Mark Henrys. The Mark Henrys, I think, were one of 80s or something like that, so they were fairly sought after, you know, pretty cool. Like,
DVD wise, I know the shop is obviously renowned for a good sourcing of covering all wrestling, not just WWE,
Yeah.
of wrestling products. But I remember one of the mates, Gary, got a TNA Victory Road. I had no experience with TNA at the time. He goes, waiting to see this Monsters Ball match and this Raven and all.
Yeah.
I was like, sold.
Happy days, yeah.
Yeah,
It's mad now, even with the network, even as collectors, we still sell a lot of DVDs.
Silver Vision, is it?
Yeah, well, just a mixture. It would be Silver Vision or Ring of Honor or TNA, or we've started selling AEW ones. But also shoot interviews and old documentaries, and those packs, like the triple disc packs like Heart and Soul, and Brian Pillman, Loose Cannon, those type of ones.
I have Warriors like Self Destruction, which is amazing.
Yeah, yeah, they still sell, because like if you think about it, if you're a collector and you've been buying DVDs for years and years and years and years, and you sit back and you're proud of your DVD collection, it's hard to stop. Even though you might have the network, I still say to people, because it's a nostalgia kick at times, there's still a nostalgia buzz about going into town on a Saturday with your wages or whatever it is, and physically buying something that you can feel and hold, and something that has a cover. Yeah. And I know like WWE sort of did a kind of a weird job a few years ago with the DVDs, where they started putting the kind of, it was like spoilers nearly on the covers, where you knew who won the matches, but of course you'd know the results already, because the DVDs came out way after it. But it was still kind of a weird effect that if you're picking up the DVD, had all the champions from the pay-per-view on the cover with the belts and all, which kind of gave away the match results. But of course, unless you were living in, under a rock or something, you'd already know the results. But still, I just thought it was kind of a little bit weird that, kind of in a way they give it away, that way.
Some of the artwork though, like the Royal Rumbles, especially, when they're all on is it New York, they're all marching down Manhattan and all on the street.
They do some brilliant ones. I mean, if you go back and you look at the cover for a Rumble, what's it, 2001 and stuff like that, where they're all lined up in 2000. Yeah. Some of them are really cool. They started doing some really good work on them. So when you look at them, they look really cool, and you don't get that kind of nostalgia buzz. Even when you look back at the old tag classics, and you see the old covers like the King of the Rings and the Unforgivens, and
with the old electric chair. Remember the King of the Ring? Was it like an electric chair or something?
Yeah, it was kind of like like that kind of thing, like a throne with a kind of thing on it and stuff. Yeah, but you don't get that kick really from the network in terms of from a nostalgia point of view, So we still do a lot of that. Magazines, we still sell a lot of old magazines and stuff like that. And all people are crazy for the old Power Slams and the old Wows, the World of Wrestlings and Wrestling Illustrated. And all. We still have magazines in the shop there that are still like the old, like old newspaper. The paper, the black and whites with the mail aways in them and all and stuff like that. Just classic sort of stuff, but just fun, just nostalgia and fun to go back over it,
How do you feel? Obviously being in the shop yourself, where we've gone from Hasbro all the way up to, am I right in saying Mattel currently have rights to make figures? How do you feel it's gone as in quality and appearance and detail? Well,
you see, for me, I mean, the detail obviously has gotten a lot better, but I think when you look at nostalgia and you look back, I'll always have a place in my heart for Hasbro's, because that's kind of what I grew up on, if you like,
And the card,
and the card as well, and the WWF logo to me is like, enshrined in my childhood.
Yeah.
And it's although some of the detail coming out on the head scans on the new stuff, and you see some of the new AEW figures and all stuff like that, they're absolutely phenomenal, the job that they've done on
Who's doing AEW? Is it Mattel as well, or is it Jack?
I'm not sure. I think it might be. I actually have to check that. I'm not too sure. I think it might be Mattel. I'm not too sure. Or it's either Mattel or it could be Jack's. Yeah, they're doing okay, but I mean, obviously, yourself, like you're obviously getting the Jerichos and the John Moxleys and all, because the WWE universe would be familiar with them as well, and they will buy them. Plus, they're kind of first off series, so like if you're a collector, you always want that series 1 and stuff like that. Plus, they're doing a cool job. They're doing some nice chases and stuff now, not dissimilar to the Funko Pops where you get a chase. They do chase figures now, and even WWE are doing chase figures now, where you might get I know I got a Kyle O'Reilly one where he has different colored knee pads and different colored trunks, and they did a Bobby Fish one. They do loads of different chases now, very similar to
in
Funko.
The Elite series, is it?
Yeah, they do them in the Elites, and I think they might do them in some of the more you know, like the pay-per-view series and stuff like that as well. And
I've
I know in AEW they do them as well, but they're very hard to get now. They're like one in they might be 1 in 100, 1 in 1,000. I know Jericho has one, and they're huge money. I think Cody Rhodes had one as well, but they're like, some of them are now upwards of $1,000.
Remember you asked me the
chase.
question about the figure, about which one I could have went back or got. This is only recently enough. I remember I was on to you. I seen the Fiend figure. I was like, hold on. I was like, oh, that would get me back in the detail. He had the belt, I think, and all of the Fiend. And I just couldn't believe it. I was like, that's unbelievable.
Yeah, no, they're doing a better job as well. I noticed on the accessories as well, because we used to have a large market there where we used to sell accessories. So we used to get in commentator sets and stretcher sets and all this kind of stuff. But now a lot of that stuff they give away with the figures now, which is but they have much better sort of offering now. Now when you buy an elite figure, although you're paying what, 25 quid or whatever it is for it, you know, you're getting a little bit more. There's an extra t-shirt in there, or a weapon, or a belt, or whereas before, like, people would be coming in to buy bags of belts off us and all that kind of stuff, you know, so it's less hassle, really, you know.
I watched a person online who does toy hunting. He goes to Walmart, goes to Target in the States and all, and for some reason a lot of people, or a majority, haven't taken to a line with it's He-Man with WWE. Have you seen them?
Yeah, the crossover.
A lot of people, like, they're just full, like, they're not being touched. You know?
Some of them are big money. I know. I was looking there the other day. The Roman Reigns one, I think, is expensive. So there's some of them, that they like, and some of them that they don't. They also did the Ghostbusters crossover. They did the Ghostbusters figures. Yeah, they have John Cena in there as a Ghostbuster or whatever it is. Yeah, and a couple of others. Yeah, Undertaker one is really good because the goo that's on the box is like purple goo. So it's for his colors and all. Yeah, it's really, really cool. So there's some good crossovers there that are all right. I wouldn't be absolutely mad about them. I know there's a Macho Man one as well.
There's a Castle Grayskull ring, like.
yeah. So but I mean, it depends how far you push it. Like, I wouldn't mind getting maybe the Undertaker one, or you know, whatever it is. I don't know if it's John Cena as Egon or something like that. Might be kind of cool, you know. But if you start going down that road, and then, like, where do they stop? Do they move on to, like, you know, WWE as Power Rangers, WWE as this, and then, like, where are you going to put the stuff? It's endless, like, you know. But yeah, some really cool stuff there out of your collection. It was nice to chat with you and go back through memory lane, have a look at all that stuff, and chat about the shop and different things that you purchased at the time and all. Great having you on.
It's great to kind of relive it as well and go through it and dissect it. Like,
absolutely,
you know? I can't wait to see others.
I know, because every time I walk into this room and I pick up a particular figure or a buddy or a toy or something like that, it reminds me straight away to a certain match or a certain time. Or, you know, I have pop figures over there, pop signed by Iron Sheik, Jake Snake Roberts, Sergeant Slaughter. Reminds me of when I went to WrestleMania with the lads, and we went to WrestleCon and we met those guys, and we had a great day. And, you know, so it's good memories that come with the stuff as well. You know?
It's a nice attachment. It is.
Yeah, and you can't put a value on that, really, in terms of your memories, you know. But listen, brilliant to have you on, as always. Great. This has been our first episode of the Four Podmen Collectors Corner. No better man to have on than Craig, who loves his merchandise and his collectibles and his memorabilia. Listen, we will talk to you again real soon. Head over to YouTube, Dynamo Podcast Network, the Four Podmen Collectors Corner, and we will talk to you again real soon.